Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I need you to hit pause on whatever you're doing right at this very moment and give me your full, undivided attention because the information I am about to lay out for you has the power to fundamentally alter the direction of the rest of your life. And I'm not talking about some distant, hypothetical future. I'm talking about tangible change that starts today, that starts this very week. I'm Dr. Mandell, and you are tuned in to the Dr. Mandell Advanced Health Channel, your go-to resource for taking the most cutting-edge, scientifically validated research in the fields of longevity and senior wellness, and transforming it into practical, actionable strategies that you can implement in your daily life. Having spent over 2 decades practicing medicine with a specialization in geriatric care and the science of aging, I have sat face to face with countless individuals in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Time and again, I have observed them repeating the very same patterns of behavior quietly and without ever realizing they were on a path that was compromising their future. These were mistakes that day by day were chipping away at their physical strength, their mental sharpness, their cherished independence, and the simple, profound joy they deserved to experience in their later years. Today, we are going to rewrite that narrative, and here's why this topic is so profoundly important. A groundbreaking study published by the prestigious National Institute on Aging tracked the lives of more than 12,000 adults ranging in age from 60 to 85 over a full decade. The results were nothing short of astonishing. The participants who took the simple step of eliminating just 3 specific daily routines were a staggering 61% less likely to suffer from major physical deterioration. They were 47% less prone to developing cognitive decline. And most remarkably, they reported a quality of life that was nearly twice as high as their peers, double. The most inspiring takeaway from this research? The majority of these individuals didn't begin making these adjustments until after they had turned 70. The message is clear. It is truly never ever too late to start. Now, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you because I have a deep understanding of who it is that tunes into this channel. You are an individual who is alert and engaged. You are someone who flat out refuses to accept the cultural myth that growing older automatically means becoming smaller, less mobile, less mentally acute, or less alive. Perhaps you've begun to notice that your energy reserves aren't what they were. Maybe those morning joint aches have become a familiar, unwelcome visitor. Perhaps your memory feels a bit more hazy than it did 5 years ago, and that started a quiet, nagging worry in the back of your mind. I see you, I understand you, and I need you to know that nearly every single symptom I've just described is not a fixed, unchangeable destination. It is a trajectory, a direction of travel. And as we all know, directions can be shifted and changed at any time. Before we plunge into the details, I want to give you a little preview of something crucial. The very first item on our list today is a common ritual that almost every senior citizen performs each and every morning, usually without giving it a second thought. The vast majority of doctors have never advised their patients against it. It is so deeply woven into the fabric of our daily culture that it's practically invisible. So, I urge you to stick with me all the way through to the finale because this number one habit might genuinely come as a profound shock to you. And to kick things off, let's create a sense of community right away. Go ahead and drop your current age into the comment section below and tell me, what is the single health habit you are most proud of nurturing in your senior years? I want you to know that I make it a point to read every single comment that comes through on this channel, every one of them. Your insights and stories directly influence the type of content I produce, and they also serve as a profound source of inspiration for each other. Leave a comment, and together, we'll continue to build this remarkable community. Now, without further delay, let's get right into the heart of the matter. We're going to count down from 7 to 1, ranked in order from the very important to the truly life-altering. Number 7, eating 3 large meals a day. This recommendation sounds completely benign, doesn't it? 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's what your mother taught you. It's what virtually every dietary pamphlet still promotes, and it's the pattern most of us have adhered to for our entire lives. But here's the critical detail those pamphlets conveniently omit. Once you cross the threshold of 65, your digestive system undergoes a dramatic and significant slowdown. The production of gastric acid drops by nearly 40%. The output of crucial digestive enzymes decreases, and your gut's ability to efficiently absorb vital nutrients from large volumes of food diminishes greatly. So when you sit down to that hefty dinner plate, your body simply cannot process it the way it could when you were 40 years old. Researchers at the University of Southern California's prestigious Longevity Institute made a fascinating discovery. Seniors who transitioned to eating 4 to 5 smaller, nutrient-dense meals, distributed evenly throughout the day, experienced a remarkable 34% improvement in protein synthesis and a 28% reduction in systemic inflammation markers within just 12 short weeks. Think of your digestive system after age 70 as a smaller, more compact engine. It doesn't require less fuel overall. It requires that fuel to be delivered in smaller, more frequent batches so that it can actually burn it efficiently and effectively. I recall a patient, let's call her Margaret, who was 74 years old. She came to me feeling utterly exhausted and bloated after each meal, convinced that something was seriously wrong with her internally. When we reviewed her dietary habits, we discovered she was eating a tiny breakfast and then one enormous dinner, which is, in reality, one of the most detrimental eating patterns for an aging physiology. We restructured her food intake into 5 smaller portions daily, packed with quality protein and healthy fats. Within 2 months, her energy had completely transformed. She told me she felt as though she had reclaimed a full decade of her life. The practical application here is straightforward. Aim to eat a meal every 3 to 4 hours. Each of those meals should contain a minimum of 25 to 30 grams of protein. Why? Because after 70, your muscles become significantly less responsive to protein, a condition known as anabolic resistance. This means you actually need more protein per pound of body weight than you did in your 30s. Pair each meal with a small amount of healthy fat, such as olive oil or avocado, to enhance the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, which are absolutely critical for maintaining robust bone and immune health. Number 6. Taking long, hot showers every day. I can already sense the resistance to this one, and I completely understand. But please, stay with me, because once you grasp what is actually happening to your skin and your circulation after the age of 65, you will never ever view your morning shower the same way. As we age, our skin produces significantly less natural oil. The sebaceous glands decelerate their production, and the skin's protective barrier becomes thinner and more fragile. Hot water, especially with prolonged exposure, strips away this remaining lipid barrier, leading to what dermatologists call transepidermal water loss. In simpler terms, it dehydrates your skin from the inside out. A study conducted by dermatologists at Johns Hopkins found that adults over 65 who took daily hot showers lasting more than 10 minutes had a 52% higher rate of chronic dry skin conditions and a significantly weakened immune barrier in the skin. But here's the part that worries me most as a physician. Hot showers cause blood vessels to dilate rapidly, which triggers a sudden drop in blood pressure. After 70, your cardiovascular system's ability to quickly compensate for these rapid pressure changes slows down considerably. This is one of the most underreported causes of dizziness and falls in the bathroom among seniors. And let's not forget, the bathroom is statistically the most dangerous room in the entire home for adults over 65. The solution, however, is remarkably simple. Lower the water temperature to comfortably warm rather than scorching hot. Limit your shower time to 8 minutes or less. Apply a ceramide-rich moisturizer immediately afterward, while your skin is still slightly damp, to lock in hydration. And consider ending your routine with a final 30-second burst of cool water, a practice known as contrast hydrotherapy. Research from the University of Oregon has shown this practice improves vascular tone and helps to reduce fatigue in older adults. Number 5. avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. This is, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous and pervasive myths I encounter in my practice, and it is costing seniors years of functional independence. The idea that if your knees hurt or your hips ache, you should rest and avoid exercise sounds perfectly logical on the surface. But the science tells a completely different and far more compelling story. Your muscles and bones exist in a close symbiotic partnership. When muscles weaken, they actually place more stress and strain on the joints, not less. Avoiding resistance training after the age of 65 only accelerates a process called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. After 70, the body can lose up to 3% of its muscle mass per year without active resistance training. By the time they reach 80, many sedentary seniors have lost a staggering 30 to 40% of the muscle they possessed at 50. That muscle is what keeps you upright, what prevents you from falling, what keeps your metabolism humming, and what maintains your bone density. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University followed adults between the ages of 72 and 98 who engaged in twice-weekly progressive resistance training. After just 10 weeks, the participants showed an average 113% increase in strength. They demonstrated improved balance, faster walking speed, and in several cases they actually reported reduced joint pain, not increased pain. The researchers concluded that frailty, not age, was the core problem, and the most encouraging part is that frailty is reversible. I worked with a patient, let's call him Harold, who was 81 years old. He came to me fully convinced his body was falling apart. He had stopped walking more than a single block because his knees hurt so severely. We started him on a simple chair-based resistance program using light exercise bands, just twice a week for 20 minutes per session. 4 months later, Harold was walking a mile every single morning. He told me he hadn't felt that free in 15 years. My advice, start with seated resistance exercises using light bands or your own body weight. Focus on the large muscle groups, your thighs, your glutes, and your back. And here is a critical synergy tip. Always consume a protein-rich meal within 30 minutes of completing your resistance session. That post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to absorbing amino acids. For seniors dealing with anabolic resistance, the timing of this protein intake isn't optional, it is absolutely essential. Number 4, relying entirely on reading glasses and skipping vision training. Here is a crucial piece of information that most eye doctors never share with their patients. Vision, much like muscle, responds positively to training. The lens of the eye and the ciliary muscles that control it weaken with age, a condition called presbyopia, which is simply the medical term for age-related near vision loss. Most people accept this decline, get progressively stronger reading glasses, and assume the deterioration is inevitable. But those ciliary muscles are still muscles. Research published in the journal Scientific Reports by a team at the University of California, Riverside found that just 30 minutes of daily near-far focusing exercises combined with adequate intake of lutein and zeaxanthin in the diet resulted in measurable improvements in reading speed and visual clarity in adults over 60 in a matter of weeks. This won't replace your glasses, but it can significantly slow the progression of vision decline and reduce your dependency on them over time. Beyond the lens itself, your brain's visual processing centers also slow with age. After 70, your contrast sensitivity, your ability to distinguish objects from backgrounds in low light, decreases by up to 27%. This is one of the primary reasons why falls so often happen in dimly lit environments. Training your eyes daily, ensuring you get adequate zinc and vitamin A, and optimizing your home's lighting are all evidence-based strategies that most seniors are simply never given. If this channel has ever given you a piece of information that your own doctor forgot to mention, please take a moment to hit that like button right now and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps us reach more people who desperately need this information, and it costs you absolutely nothing to do. Number 3, sleeping more than 9 hours or relying on sleep aids regularly. This one often surprises people because we all know that sleep is deeply healing, and it is. But the relationship between sleep and aging is far more nuanced than most people realize, and getting it wrong is quietly devastating the brain health of millions of seniors. A massive study from Harvard Medical School, which followed over 14,000 adults over 8 years, found that seniors who regularly slept more than 9 hours per night had a 46% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours. This isn't because sleep itself is harmful, it's because chronically long sleep is often a symptom of poor quality sleep, not restorative rest. And that poor quality sleep, characterized by fragmented cycles and insufficient deep sleep, fails to clear the metabolic waste products that accumulate in the brain each and every day. Your brain has a literal cleaning system called the glymphatic system. Think of it as a nighttime sanitation crew that flushes through the brain, removing debris, including the amyloid plaques that are associated with Alzheimer's disease. But this system only operates effectively during deep sleep and is most active during the first 6 to 7 hours. Spending 9 or 10 hours in bed often means hours of fragmented light sleep that produces none of this critical clearing. As for sleep aids, especially over the counter antihistamine based products containing diphenhydramine, the research is genuinely alarming. A study in JAMA Internal Medicine found a significant correlation between the regular use of these medications and an increased risk of dementia. They cross the blood-brain barrier, reduce acetylcholine, a key neurotransmitter for memory, and with repeated use, they can cause lasting changes in brain chemistry. I had a patient, let's call her Dorothy, who was 78 years old. She was sleeping 10 hours a night and still waking up exhausted. She had been taking a common sleep aid for 3 years. When we ran cognitive assessments, her scores had been quietly declining. We weaned her off the medication, introduced a strict 7-hour sleep window, added magnesium glycinate before bed, and addressed her sleep environment. Within 4 months, her cognitive scores improved, and she told me the fog she had been living in for years had finally started to lift. If sleep is a struggle for you, focus on keeping consistent sleep and wake times every single day. Keep your room cool, between 65 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid screens for at least 60 minutes before bed. Take 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate 30 minutes before sleep, and pair it with chamomile or passion flower tea for a natural synergy that supports GABA, the brain's calming neurotransmitter, without the dangerous side effects. Number 2, drinking less water because you feel less thirsty. This may very well be the most overlooked health crisis among seniors today, and the reason it is so dangerous is precisely because it is invisible. You simply do not feel it happening. Here is the biology. As we age, the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that regulates thirst, becomes progressively less sensitive. By the age of 70, most adults have a significantly blunted thirst response. This means you can be clinically dehydrated and feel completely fine. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that up to 40% of community-dwelling seniors over 70 are chronically mildly dehydrated and have absolutely no idea. Even mild chronic dehydration in seniors is linked to a 30% increase in urinary tract infections, which are a leading cause of sudden cognitive decline and hospitalization in the elderly. It also increases the risk of kidney stones, constipation, and dangerous concentrations of medications in the blood. Since many common drugs are water-soluble and rely on adequate hydration to maintain proper blood levels, the stakes are high. Research from King's College London found that even a 1 to 2% dehydration level, too small to feel, reduces short-term memory, concentration, and reaction time in older adults by measurable amounts. The target for most seniors is 6 to 8 cups of water per day, consumed consistently throughout the day rather than all at once. Keep a 32-ounce water bottle visible at all times and commit to finishing it twice by the end of the day. Add a small pinch of Himalayan salt or a sugar-free electrolyte supplement to 1 glass daily to improve cellular absorption. Pair this with hydrating foods such as cucumbers, watermelon, and leafy greens, which provide structured water that absorbs more efficiently than plain water alone. And now the moment I promised you from the very beginning. Number one, the single thing. Almost every senior does. Every morning that is quietly eroding their health, their brain, and their independence. That thing is sitting down within 30 minutes of waking up. I know you didn't see that coming. Here is what the science reveals, and it is genuinely remarkable. The human body has what researchers call a cortisol awakening response. In the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol, your primary stress and alertness hormone, surges naturally by 50 to 100% above baseline. This is your body's biological alarm clock. It is preparing your cardiovascular system, your brain, and your muscles for the activity of the day. For seniors, this window is one of the most powerful biological events of the entire day. When you sit down immediately after waking, whether in a chair with your coffee, at the breakfast table, or on the couch with the television, you signal your body that the day's physical demands are already over. Research from the University of Queensland, published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, analyzed the activity patterns of over 5,000 adults over 65. They found that those who were sedentary in the first hour after waking had significantly higher rates of metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular events, and cognitive decline over a 5-year follow-up, independent of how much they exercised later in the day. Cortisol during that morning surge is anti-inflammatory. It suppresses joint stiffness, it clears residual sleep-related inflammation from your tissues, and primes your muscles for movement. When you sit still through this window, that cortisol circulates without serving its purpose. And chronically misused cortisol is directly linked to increased visceral fat, bone density loss, and impaired immune function. Additionally, research from Maastricht University showed that light physical activity immediately after waking increased muscle protein synthesis rates throughout the entire day in adults over 65, even when the morning movement was gentle and brief. We are talking about a 10-minute slow walk, light stretching, or simple standing exercises, gentle movement that wakes the body the way it was designed to be awakened. I want to tell you about a patient I'll call Robert. He was 77 years old and had been retired for 12 years. He had settled into a deeply ingrained routine: wake up, pour his coffee, sit in his recliner, and watch the morning news for an hour. He told me he had no energy. His joints ached every morning for the first 2 hours. He felt mentally foggy until early afternoon. His blood work showed elevated inflammatory markers, pre-diabetic glucose levels, and low testosterone for his age. We made one change, just one. For 21 days, Robert committed to a 10-minute walk outside within 15 minutes of waking, before the coffee, before the chair, before the television. Then he came back, had his breakfast, had his coffee, and did whatever he wanted. Within 3 weeks, he called my office, and I will never forget what he said. He said, "Dr. Mandell, I feel like someone turned a light back on inside me." His morning joint stiffness had reduced dramatically, his midday energy had improved. His fasting glucose had dropped. One change, 10 minutes, 21 days. The synergy here is natural light. The moment you step outside or stand at a bright window during that morning movement, you trigger a serotonin release timed perfectly with the cortisol awakening response. This combination sets your circadian rhythm for the entire day, improves nighttime melatonin production, stabilizes your mood, and has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of seasonal depression in older adults. Morning movement plus morning light is one of the most powerful, free, side effect-free interventions in all of longevity medicine, and almost no one is talking about it. All references for the studies mentioned today are linked in the description below, and I strongly encourage you to read them for yourself. Now, let me bring this home for you, because this is not just about biology and statistics. This is about your life. This is about whether you spend the next decade watching it happen from a chair, or whether you are present, capable, independent, and genuinely alive in every room you walk into. I have watched patients in their late 80s reverse conditions their previous doctors had told them were permanent. I have watched people who could barely walk across a parking lot become daily walkers within months. I have watched cognitive clarity return to people who had begun to feel afraid of their own minds. And in every single case, the turning point was not a medication, not a surgery, not a miracle. It was information, the right information applied consistently. You have that information now. 7 changes that cost nothing, require no prescription, and can begin today. Your body is not betraying you, it is responding to the inputs it is given. Change the inputs, and you will be amazed at what this incredible human body of yours still has the capacity to do. If this video reached you at the right moment, if something here connected with where you are in your life right now, please share it with someone you love who needs to hear it. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, this is your invitation. We publish new research-backed content every week, specifically designed for adults over 60 who refuse to accept that decline is inevitable because it is not. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join a community of people who are choosing to live fully at every age. This is Dr. Mandell, and I'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourselves.